Alrighty, we are now joined by Mark Madsen, the new head coach for men's basketball at Utah Valley. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on the gig. What's the first couple of months been like?
The first couple of months, I wasn't sleeping much. I woke up at one point in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 a.m. My entire front line had either transferred or season-ending injury, and I was in a cold sweat. But we've been able to sign some great players to add to the players that stayed, and I could not be more excited about the upcoming season.
Awesome. It's hard to buy into a new system, and change is very hard, but do you feel like your players have started to do so?
Our players have been fantastic. From top to bottom, I could not ask for a more talented group of players, and really the attitude and the buy-in that they've had has been top-notch. These are guys, I told them the other day, I said, I would love to go to war with you guys as a group.
That sounds very nice. You made that sound very good. But you come from the Lakers as 6 years an assistant. Is it more or less responsibility coming to the collegiate level?
It's different. It's much different. The NBA is different than college. In college, you have to get up to speed right away on all the NCAA rules. And our athletic director, Jared Sumption, and our president let me know when I took the job. They said, follow every rule. And so I had to learn. This was a learning curve for me because I didn't know every rule. And so that piece was a learning curve. The player development is similar. We want to develop the heck out of our players. They're already do a lot of things great, and then we want to help push them to add different skills, add new things. And then the X's and O's, a few slight differences, more baseline out of bounds in college than the pros and some different rules, but it's the same game.
And you're also now in charge of like meals and all sorts of stuff, right? So you got kind of the little details too.
Luckily, the staff at Utah Valley, the assistant coaches we have, and our director of ops and our head video coordinator have been phenomenal. And so they really help spearhead a lot of those things, such as meals, such as hotels, travel, to allow me to focus on basketball.
Transition's just a little bit easier with all of them, right?
Oh, having a great team of people, that makes all the difference.
And you guys have a mental health specialist on your staff list. How important is that for you and your players?
Dr. Kevin Woods is one of the top in his field. He has a phenomenal relationship with all of our players. Everything he does is confidential. And so I literally know nothing about the conversations he's having with certain of our players, but he's such an asset because, I'll see our players talk with him, and that's what I want as a head coach. I want our players to have resources. I want them to have the sports psychologist right there. When I played for the Lakers, Phil Jackson brought in a sports psychologist who he would just hang out at practice and shoot the breeze with us so that when we did have a problem, we were comfortable with him.
That's kind of what matters, right? When they can feel like they can share a whole bunch. And there was a bit of a Twitter buzz a couple weeks ago. One of your former teammates, Shaq, came about and talked very, very highly of you. What does that mean to have a former teammate of yours speak such great levels of you?
Well, let me say this about Shaq. Shaq is one of the most unbelievable teammates I've ever had. And one thing that makes him unique is that he cares about his teammates. And I think all of us that played with him know that. I mean, here's a guy that the minute he steps on the court, it's all business, and you better be ready to perform. But off the court, he takes the time to get to know his teammates' families, his teammates' friends. He would open up his house, birthday parties, whatever else. And so you talk about someone who's generous, who's a great player, that's Shaq.
Can we expect him at any Utah Valley basketball games in the future?
We'll see. We'll see if we can get him up there to Orem, Utah.
All righty. I'm now going to pass you on down to the media, Coach.
Yeah.
So when you look at your schedule this season, the game on November 18th at Kentucky really stands out. What can fans expect to see when you play that game?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. I think one of the things that was important to our players in the program, as I met with every single player, was they wanted to play against the best. Kentucky has one of the richest traditions in the game of college basketball. Even at the Lakers, we had several players from Kentucky, Julius Randle, Rajon Rondo. And so you kind of get to know a program through spending time with some of these players. And you look at the caliber of player that Kentucky has put out, it's the highest caliber as players and as people. You think about DeMarcus Cousins. You think about the long list of players. And so I wanted our guys to have the chance to have a great game, to go in there and give a battle and to try to get the win. It'll be a great test. It'll be a tremendous test. And I'm telling you this, our guys are up for the challenge. And that's why you play the game. We have nothing but respect for Kentucky, but we're excited to have that great challenge.
Coming into your first year, you have a lot of new faces on the Wolverines. Do you have any idea of what your starting lineup is going to look like come November 5th?
We're starting to zero in on the starting lineup. That'll be something that we announce shortly before the first game. But the one thing that I see on this team right now, I think we're going to have some nice depth. I think we have plenty of guys, whether they're starting or coming off the bench. We have firepower. And it's something I'm excited about. I think it's something that our fans and supporters should be excited about also.
Mark, there's one person that I don't think a lot of people know much about right now.
Yeah.
That's been a big, at least I know of him, and I've talked to people about him. But can you talk a little bit about your point guard and Brandon Averett and what he's going to bring to the table this year?
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Kyle. That's a great question. I think one of the words that comes to my mind when I think about Brandon is professionalism. Here's a guy who's in the gym constantly, working on his shooting, working on his passing. And by the way, he's a great shooter already. He's a great passer already. But he's in there constantly working on his craft, trying to get better. Academics, he's getting it done in the classroom. He performs at a high level academically. And he is a vocal leader right now, and he's becoming even more vocal as every day passes. And so obviously, I'm going to expect a lot out of Brandon Averett this year. There's a high standard that I've set for him, but there's a high standard that he sets for himself.
You're a Stanford grad. You were just inducted into the Cardinal Hall of Fame. What did that honor mean for you?
Well, as I reflected on that weekend before I went out there, what I really think about is you think about a building and all the bricks that a bricklayer goes to help construct a building. And really, I received an individual honor that weekend, but really it's the culmination and it's the effect of all of the teammates I was with. It was also an effect of all of the players that have gone to Stanford for generations. It was Mike Montgomery and his system. And so really it was an individual honor, but in my mind, it's received by the entire team.
So 2 questions. The first one is, can you tell us a little bit about Zach Mogbo, what you see in him, transferred from Palm Beach State, JUCO, because I know you're high on him. And then the second question is, what's your love affair with Crocs?
So let me answer the second one first. So I did have my Crocs on before I came into this room, but I had to bust out the dress shoes. My wife Hannah would not have wanted me to come up here with Crocs on. Had I done it on my own, I would have, but arthritis in my feet, so that's why I wear Crocs. But you asked about Zach Mogbo. So most of the team got out here in June, got to Utah in June, and started working out, learning the plays. There was a situation to where Zach couldn't arrive until August. I'm telling you this, as soon as Zach got here, he's been learning the plays. He's been doing the extra conditioning. He's been in the weight room. He's been working on his footwork. And so he came from a great coach at Palm Beach State, Coach McCann, and he's in a situation now where his hard work is evident every single day. And I'm going to expect a lot out of Zach this year. He's a physical player. He's a guy that could get 2 or 3 offensive rebounds in a single trip down the court. And so I think Zach can impact the game in a lot of ways. I told him the other day, I said, how vocal you are on defense is fantastic because the whole gym can hear it. And that's what you have to do if you want to become the player that you want to become, and if you want to contribute to this team the way I know he can contribute.
What will it take to win the WAC tournament?
A lot of things. It's going to take a lot of things to win the WAC tournament, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Our players are capable of it. We're going to need a few great performances, not only offensively, but defensively. We're going to need guys to be locked in to the scouting report. We're going to need to do a great job as coaches. And so it's going to take a lot of different factors to achieve the goal that we want to achieve. But I'm telling you this right here, it's possible. It is definitely possible.
Alrighty, I have one last important question.
Yeah.
What color are your Crocs?
Well, I've got 10 different pairs.
What kind did you wear today?
Well, I wear the straight blue ones because I figured, hey, this is kind of a formal event. I got to be conservative. But I almost got out the camouflage Crocs.
Okay, see, I had the light blue ones as a kid, so I'm with you on the Crocs.
Okay, do you still wear the Crocs?
I have not worn the Crocs in a while.
Well, you should think about it. It's
I
a
might
nice,
have to bring them
it's
back
a nice
out.
fashion statement.
They are becoming a fashion statement. Alrighty, Coach. Well, best of luck in year number 1, and thanks for coming out with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
All right, next up, Dan Marley, the last guy of the day.